is currently our artist in residence in photography, and obviously a beautiful soul and amazing portrait maker. And it's been really great having you because you've really made use of all the spaces at the center. I mean, he's been in the digital lab printing, he's been in the dark rooms processing black and white and color. He's been teaching in the youth programs, which has been super amazing because our Monroe program has mostly Spanish-speaking students, and Fernando's been an amazing bridge in that. Also, he's been in the back classroom, matting and framing, in the studio with the 4x5 or was it an 8x10 actually, the 8x10 camera. So he's really made great use of the Art Center. So I wanted to ask you, what made you apply for the artist in residency, and like what has been good about it for you so far, and what's been the challenge for you there?
Yeah, so really what made me apply was, I don't know, I just felt like this need of wanting to make work and like really wanting to like expand on my, creative portraiture, and like I wanted to be pushed like a little bit and to like make work. And some challenges, I mentioned like the challenges, before, but I think like also my inner saboteur who is like the one that's like, you're not good enough, like, this and that, which I feel like we all have a little bit of that, but I just have to remember to like, that art takes time, and it just gonna come naturally too. So because like, and like even in the beginning, like I was thinking about like I don't have to I'm sorry, like I lost my train of thought, but it's back. So I was thinking in the beginning to talk more about like gender and sexual expression and like sexuality and all that, but like that's not really like part of my concept anymore, or like my statement anymore. So that's something that like I've kind of like taken out, like just because like right now like I have other interests. So
and part of your residency includes having to teach, and for those of you who don't know, Fernando taught photography and queer culture. That was the first class that he did, which ended up turning into a zine and a club, right? So can you talk about that?
Yeah, so we made a zine. I think so like everybody in the class, like there were only 4 people, but like everybody in the class like produced like some work, or like gave some work that they wanted to be representative of themselves, to be included in this zine. So the zine is actually like on the table right outside the office, so you can take a look at it if you haven't.
Can you talk about point and shoot in your own work, and why you want to share that with people?
Yeah, so point and shoot I think is really cool because it allows you to remove yourself from really paying attention to what you're shooting. So like if you have if I were to have a digital camera, like it wouldn't, like I would be too focused on taking pictures, like I would be too focused on my camera and on the digital aspect, like, and taking like hundreds, which nobody needs to take 100 pictures, like for like in one scenario. So really, with a point and shoot camera, like I take a roll or two and like I shoot that, and like it really like takes me away from like that. Like I get to live more in the moment. And I think with the film, it really does represent really beautifully like the transient aspect of like being in these places.
Set you free from all that stuff. You just shoot really freely.
And also like shooting medium format too, like I only get like 10 pictures most. And one time my friend Christian and his partner Jeff, they were leaving to go to California, so like they're there right now, but I was like, oh, I want to take one last picture of us. So I had my digital camera. I didn't want to shoot film. just because I wanted to be like part of the picture. So and I only shot 10 pictures because I knew exactly what I wanted, and like it felt so freeing to be like, oh, like I don't have to go through like hundreds of pictures to like edit. It's just like 10. It's like so easy. So like other formats have taught me that.
Fernando, I was wondering if you could talk about your boys by the beach photos. Just because I love those so much, and I'd love for you to show them.
Yeah, let me pull up my website. I did this series on was it last summer? Well, like throughout the summers, like I've been shooting like pictures, of my friends like out and about, just because I think summer is such a beautiful time. There's Kylie. Yeah, so I think it's like summer's a really beautiful time to be alive. Yeah, so this is the one you were talking about, Simona?
Yeah, sorry, I muted myself.
Yeah, so this was like this just shows like community, it shows like a lot of like embracing like each other in a non-sexual way too, which I think is important to talk about. I got dragged a little bit for the lack of people of color, but then I had to fight that because Max is of Asian descent, and so is Eric, and Hispanic, and so is Andrew. But so anyway, that's another story. But yeah, so I call this series Utopia, and in a way like that, like also the party pictures kind of tie into that concept of utopia, because it's like even in the summer or in like in a club, like it's such a like a perfect time to like everything just seems like very like perfect. So
they're so like Renaissance. The way you compose people in these images is so like Renaissance painting, and I love that you're depicting like different people than would have been depicted in those paintings.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It kind of reminds me of those memes, when you see like celebrities coming out of clubs and then someone shows like a Renaissance painting next to it.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I think I hadn't like thought about that. Oh, there's Kylie, yay. So yeah.
Are there questions from our joiners here?
Not a question, but a comment I wanted to make was I remember, Fernando, seeing your final show at SUNY Brockport, and I was blown away.
Oh, thank you.
I think what travels from that to your work now is how authentic it is.
Oh, thank you.
It's just has that quality to it for me, and it very honest, direct, authentic. I mean, those are the words that come to mind when I look at your work, and that's powerful.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, because I don't know. I think I was talking to one of my friends, and like I was just showing him like pictures of boys I've taken, and he was like, oh, like this isn't different from like what you were shooting before, like from what you were shooting. Oh, like actually my show at the Bachelor Forum, which I had a show in January at the Bachelor Forum about like the Utopia series I showed you all. And he was like, this isn't different, but like that's not bad or good. It's just, but yeah. So like I can see what you're saying. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also some of the family portraits. Not only are they direct, but it's very dignified. It has that quality to it too. The people are very dignified, strong. That's there too.
Thank you. Yeah, like I'm intentional with like people looking straight into the camera to make a connection. You know, there's a connection like with myself, and there's also a connection with like the viewer, you know, like they get to experience what I experience.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say to just to add a comment was that, you know, Fernando, your comment about nobody needs to take 100 pictures. Some of us need to take 100 pictures, and it does actually create a huge burden to cull down, because especially for me, when I'm making work, I can't ever figure out like which ones are really the best ones. But knowing that you only have 10, you've taken sort of a snapshot, or like a more casual way of just documenting your friends and your families and the people that are the closest to you. And you've really made beautiful portraits. I mean, you know, going back to what Sharon said about them being authentic, they're really emotional. Like when I look at them, in my previous days, I might have been more snobbish and feeling like a snapshot is not art, or, you know, the collective body of work could be like looking at Nan Goodin's work, but saying generally that one standalone doesn't really stand alone. But yours really having the thoughtfulness behind how you've posed folks, and already having like in your mind, okay, I only have 10 shots. How am I going to maximize this? It really comes through.
Yeah. And some of them have light leaks, so that's another thing that I have to like really worry about.
I don't mind the light leaks at all, though. I mean, just like Laura was saying earlier, I think the one with your grandmother is really powerful. And, you know, one of the things I embraced when I first took a Holga class years and years ago was not even to bother to tape my camera, because I feel like the light leaks add so much. And especially, I mean, you're not doing alternative process. You know, you have in your mind already that you want them to be perfect, right? And your light leaks are uncontrollable, but I like that. They're one of a kind.
They are, yeah. And yeah, going off of that too, they I forgot what I was gonna say. Sorry.
Some people intentionally try to get light leaks shooting with Olga and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, what I was gonna say is that like I'm really I really like the idea of taking really beautiful portraits. Like I think that's really like my end goal. Yeah, that's it.
So to jump off what Sharon was saying earlier about the dignity, that's really important to me too, the respect you have for your subjects. Because one of the things that frustrates me, being older than you, is that, you know, I see how the accessibility of taking pictures and how, you know, it's less expensive to take 100 pictures than it might have been years ago when you worried about processing and, you know, the expenses of that more. But what I notice is a lot of times that means that people are sloppy with their culling or curating, and I get upset. I get very protective of subjects when I see, for example, you know, event photography from an organization, and someone just like dumps all of the pictures they took on their iPhone at a party, and they don't go through and make sure that they're editing out anything that doesn't respect the people that they are taking a shot of. It's one thing to reveal things in your photos, but I really appreciate, especially as a younger generation photographer, I really appreciate the respect that you are offering. And I think that builds a lot of trust. And I think that's really important. And it's something that I notice isn't as common across the board as I would like to see it. So thank you for that too. And don't let that go, because I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I think of my friends and family as being really beautiful people, and there are stories that need to be shared. Oh, like there's another thing that I wanted to say too, that you don't see like stories about being immigrant and like coming here and, you know, like having a gay son, and like I want to talk about that because Rochester is very white, period. And I want to like share that story, you know, like share, and I think it's because it's really beautiful. Like it's when my mom visited in January, like I remember like laying in bed with her in the morning and just talking about like, you know, the stories that like her sharing those stories with me about her coming here. and the divorce with my dad, and all of that, I think is really, really like important for me to like talk about and share.
Will you have some writing with the photos?
Variety.
Writing?
Oh, I'll have it.
I know you can tell stories strictly with pictures, of course, but I just wondered if there would be some writing with it.
I was thinking about just having a statement. Not necessarily a writing for every picture. I kind of like the one-off titles, you know, like mother, Mami Tere, which is what I call my grandma.
Yeah.
My friends, like, you know, strike, like, you know, just like having their names, because like, again, like I feel like that's a way to like pay tribute to them and like respect them.
Fernando, were you going to do, I might have missed this, are you going to do like print them really large, or how are you going to actually present them?
So I want to, for the color ones, like I think I was thinking about printing them in 16 by 20, probably, but I also do have 16 by 20 black and white paper that I want to print on. So I was thinking about like printing some black and white in that. So like maybe like the picture of my mom, and more that I wanted to take. That, you know, we'll see. Yeah, but I have like this 16 by 20.
And do we have an idea that if the...
Go ahead.
I want you to go ahead and finish your thoughts. Sorry, I'll talk.
No, you're fine. No, I'm just gonna say like that I'm really excited about having this like 16 by 20 paper, because like I've never printed anything that large in the darkroom. So
yeah.
So I was just wondering if we've talked at all at the center about how to exhibit your work or how to experience your final project through your residency if we're still in this pandemic mode at some point into the future, right? Like, would there be an opportunity for it to possibly be an online gallery or another talk or something else? Or are we looking forward to really having the opportunity to come together to see the work in person, to see the really large, beautiful prints?
Yeah, so I feel like a little kid being and a little snobby being like, I will not have an online gallery. Like I refuse. But like it's different. Like it doesn't matter how long it takes. Like I'm gonna have a physical like presentation.
Yeah, Fernando and I have talked and agreed that we'll just figure it out as things go along. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, and Jen, so I don't know, am I on mute still?
No, you're good.
Okay, so yes, even if we have to limit the number of people that can come through the gallery at any given time, we'll have a live gallery show. We may do a virtual one as well to memorialize it, but we definitely want to have people come into the center and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I'll just ask one last question, unless someone else wants to ask something. Did you have something, Kylie?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like I want to see those prints 16 by 20. And one last thing I'll say too, like just going off of what I think a lot of people have touched on is like, I've known Fernando for a while now, and so I'm biased, but like you just are someone who, it doesn't take you a long time to really invest in someone, and I think that's a beautiful thing. Like you just people as a whole you love so deeply, and like I just think that translates in your work. Like people are saying you dignify your subjects, and you do, because it's like just so genuine, because you genuinely, and you're making a career out of it, like not just as an artist, like a career, like you just care about people so much, and it translates, and it's just so cool to see.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I'm glad Kylie said that, because that's what my question was around. Like, where does this come from? Where does your need for community and connection come from? Do you know?
I don't know. I guess, like I said before, I feel like as a teenager, everybody has like those fights with their parents, right? But I feel like I said, growing up gay, like I feel like extra difficult for me. not to invalidate anybody's like personal relationship with their parents and like what they have gone through. And yeah, so I don't know, I just like, and it's also this I also mentioned like this battle for like wanting to make portraits before like people leave or people like pass away, and like I don't know, it's just like kind of like also kind of dark, that like it's this need that I want to like document them. You know, I took this I think like November or December, and I wanted to show like a generational, you know, like a generational picture, like look us three like looking straight into the camera. So I thought that was, and also like to like, I don't know, like I love this picture.
I love in this picture that your disposition looks somewhere between like both of their dispositions, like your mother's like almost more smiling and your grandma's more like has her like, you know, like powerful face on, and you're somewhere like in between in this. Like it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And of course it's a gorgeous image.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I really like it too.
Just going back for a second, the way your mom claims you though with the hand on your shoulder is a really strong, I think, component to the energy of the portrait. And yeah, it's a gorgeous shot.
Thank you.